Sometimes a breakup isn't the end of the relationship. It's just a moment when everything gets misread. And if you're not careful, you can turn something temporary into something permanent. The first sign this breakup might not be over is that it didn't go the way they expected. And I mean that you didn't respond the way that they expected. No one you know has spoken to more people who have been broken up with, but also more people who have done the dumping. They broke up with somebody and then they decided it was wrong and they wanted them back. And they wanted to know what they needed to do, because it might seem really simple to you that all they have to do is tell you. But a lot of people, especially if some time passes and they realize they made a mistake, they don't want to fumble it. And so they want me to tell them how to do it. And so for years, I have heard their stories. I don't just make YouTube videos. I don't just read books or other people's information and then turn it into an educational video. There's a lot of people out there who do that, who actually don't walk with people through these situations, through breakups, through marriage problems. They don't actually do it, but they make videos and they act like they work with all these people when they really don't. People just buy their courses and things like that. But I walk with people through these things, 7,000 sessions. And I can tell you that no one expects to break up with somebody and that person not do a dang thing. They expect to be chased. As a matter of fact, sometimes they get really irritated. Why is he not trying to get me back? Why is he not fighting for me? Which, when someone just breaks up with you and you have asked them not to, you've asked them to work on it, you have fought for them. But you can't force someone to do anything, and bowing out gracefully is the right move, even if they feel like you should have done more. Because when you create that vacuum and you don't give them that closure, that's when they feel like something is missing, and that something that's missing is you, and they can become preoccupied with you. But when you fight it and you beg and you plead, and they know for a fact they could get you back at any second, you have given them closure, the wrong kind of closure. And so when you do, as I say to do, which is that you do your best when they break up with you to talk them out of it, of course. But then you say, if this is what you want, I understand. I wish you the best. And you walk away. You stop fighting. You stop pursuing them. You let them have the breakup they say that they want. That is what they don't expect, because as the days pass and the weeks pass, they will go through a relief stage. But once the relief stage passes, which is usually just 2 weeks, maybe a month at most, they can start to look backwards towards you because you're not chasing them anymore. They're not trying to get away from you. And so they start to become curious. That's the next stage. And I have a video about this called Stages Your Ex Goes Through During No Contact. I suggest you watch that one. It's an old one, but a good one. And basically, they start to wonder why you're not pursuing them. And this is usually the first domino to fall, where when they break up with you, they can't help it. It's human nature. When you break up with someone, you feel somewhat above them, somewhat more attractive than them. And good people feel this. This is not just something that some egotistical maniac feels. But when someone breaks up with you, yes, they feel like that they are a bit more attractive than you because they're rejecting you in a sense. And when you don't fight and plead and beg and chase, and you just kind of go on your own way, live your life, let them have the breakup, it's anticlimactic, and it lowers their perceived attraction as far as how they perceive their own attractiveness. That's not what they expected. And the irony is they didn't even know what they expected. They have to have time to think about it. And then they start to think, why are you not doing this? Am I not as attractive as I thought? Did they not want me as badly as I thought? Are they not going to be as easily gotten back as I thought? Because that changes things. In the moment of the breakup, you're easily gotten back. They could just say, you know what, you're right, I changed my mind. And you would be relieved. It would be like the greatest day of your life because you thought you lost them, but you got them back. So in that moment, there's no urgency for them. And what they expect is that it will continue that way, that it will be a permanent option. But when they start to think it might not be, that changes the terms. It changes things in their mind as far as how they had been thinking about it. It's actually pretty big deal. That's why I tell people to go into no contact. Defy their expectations, and you will have a better chance of reattracting them. Number 2 on the list of signs that the breakup is temporary is if the breakup was emotional and not a real decision. So maybe it was based on a fight, or hurt feelings from something else, or you stood up for yourself because they were trying to have double standards and you just said, I'm not going to do this. And they have never been stood up to before in that way. And I'm not saying you were a jerk to them, but that you just stood your ground. And sometimes people will break up with you for that temporarily, because when they step back and think about it, it's actually attractive when someone has standards. And I'm not saying that someone should be difficult to deal with or anything like that. I'm just saying that having standards, especially as far as how they treat you, that they should treat you well and you should treat them well. And it's really that simple. And if it's not happening and you stand your ground on it, sometimes people who are used to getting to treat people however they want because maybe they're really attractive, and in their past relationships, they've just been able to be a nightmare and get away with it, but they can't get away with it with you. Actually, that's a great sign that things can be temporary, by the way, because when they start to think about it, they want someone with standards because that person respects themselves and that person is high value. But if it is based on something emotional, something in the moment, then there's a good chance that it's temporary. When things settle, when the smoke clears, when they get some time and some space just to think, and they don't get the nervous, anxious, urgent response from you or efforts from you to just beg and plead and get them back, that you just give them that space. It's dignified, it's impressive, it's strong. Let them sit with it. Usually this is going to be a temporary breakup. Number 3, and this is if maybe they're with someone else now or they're kind of talking to somebody else. They didn't replace you. They probably escaped pressure. And this can come when a relationship is starting to develop into something stable and long-term and strong. And there's a lot of people out there who are only used to the beginning stages of a relationship. I call it limerence, and a lot of people call it that. I have a video called What is Limerence? What is limerence? Look it up and watch it to learn more about this, but it's the falling in love stage, the madly in love mindset that is often associated with a new relationship, when everything is mysterious and unknown and your future's out in front of you and you're learning this person. That's what intimacy is. When you are learning this person, your intimacy is growing at light speed. And when you start to know everything about them, when you live life with them, you know their past, you know their feelings, you know how their week goes, it is anticlimactic because you are not growing in intimacy as quickly because you already have a high score, so to speak. It's sort of like a top-notch athlete who's a professional. Their rate of improvement is not going to be as much as someone who's just beginning because they're very good. They don't have as much to improve on. And yet it can be discouraging that someone else maybe improves their score in a game or certain achievements in a sport or business or whatever by incredibly high percentages. And yet the person who's at the top of their game might only improve by 1 or 2%. And that can feel like it's not as much. But when you're at that level, it's actually a lot. And that's how some couples are. They're very intimate with each other. And so there's really not a lot to improve on or not a lot to allow them to grow further with each other because they are already there. And they're going to have to be patient. And as life changes come, intimacy will continue to further develop and become more complex, but it won't be as quickly as a beginning relationship. And that's what limerence is that fast growth of intimacy. And when you're in a relationship that's beginning to require you to actually contribute more, it's taking more work, it's taking more patience, it has become regular life. The draw of a new relationship can be a whole lot because you're not having to deal with issues that have come up related to life. You're able to have the fuel of dopamine and adrenaline, the things that create the butterflies in your stomach. And it's like getting rocket fuel. It's easy, it's quick, it's powerful, it's exciting. It is quite the draw. And so a lot of times, it's not that they replaced you, it's that was easier. It didn't require the work that a real relationship takes, the sacrifice that a real relationship takes, the serving each other that a real relationship takes. And people can be addicted to the newness of a new relationship. And when that newness wears off, they are in the real world now, they might not like this person so much. And the real thing they had with you can be quite the draw. In that case, this is a temporary breakup. Number 4, another way that you can know this breakup is temporary is if they actually didn't solve the problem. So if their issue was they couldn't commit, they're afraid of commitment, they're selfish, they're immature, they have a lot of double standards, and you called it out, they felt like they were the prize and you weren't, things like that. That didn't change. And they will carry that with them into other relationships that will probably fail as well, which means if you do want them back in the future, you will possibly have that chance. And oftentimes it happens very quickly because they will even recognize it. Or because during no contact, they can actually reflect on the relationship and even their past relationships, and maybe they will start to notice a pattern. But if the problem is still there and you weren't the problem, then the breakup is likely going to be temporary, but it can take longer than a lot of other situations. But if you can wait and be patient and you still want them back after some time has passed and you don't just want to move on, then the breakup was temporary and you can possibly, hopefully have another chance with this person. Number 5, they aren't acting like someone who's truly done. So that can be they're watching your stories, they're still reaching out, seeing how your week's going, what's going on with you. That's because they're missing intimacy, which again is not something someone typically does when they're truly done and they're certain that they're done. They're asking their friends about you. They're asking for your help, maybe with basic things that they could have taken care of themselves. They haven't taken pictures of the two of you together down off social media. They haven't started dating someone else. They haven't put a profile back up on a dating app or website. Things like that. When they're acting like someone who's not truly done, that's not the time for you to put your foot on the gas pedal. That's the time for you to be steady, to let them come to you, to not change a thing, to stay silent. Let it keep working on them. Don't interrupt their momentum. You can get my reunion blueprint for just $7 at reunionblueprint.com. $7, reunionblueprint.com. It does what the title says. If you want to book a coaching session with me or a great coach on my staff, you can go to myexbackcoach.com/coaching. That's myexbackcoach.com/coaching. This has been Coach Lee, and as always, thank you for watching.